National Education Day was marked across the country today. Now, despite annual investment of 200 billion rupees, the standard of education is yet to improve in Nepal. Now, also in this edition of Kantipur News, we have updates about presidential pardon to inmates on the occasion of the Constitution Day and the hike in the price of sugar. Good evening, I'm Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. It has been 8 years since the promulgation of the Constitution. Public still deprived of fundamental rights, rule of law overshadowed by political gambits. Nepal receives over $45 billion of Chinese investments in the past 6 decades. Projects, however, lack desired momentum. Businesses hike the price of sugar by 20 rupees per kilogram in just 1 week. Consumer rights activists call businesses anarchic. And Nepal men's national volleyball team suffer a 4-set defeat against Bahrain in their first match of the Asian Games to take on a strong Iran side tomorrow. President Ramchandra Paudel has issued a pardon to 670 inmates after rejecting 34 on the occasion of Constitution Day. According to the Office of the President, the pardon has been issued to 670 inmates upon the recommendation of the Council of Ministers. Issuing a notice today, the Office of the President has said that the pardon has been issued as provisioned by several acts and regulations. The Council of Ministers had recommended for the pardon on the 15th of September. Tomorrow will mark 8 years of promulgation of the Constitution of Nepal. Now, following the promulgation of the Constitution on the 20th of September 2015, the 3 tiers of the government are operating in their second term. With the implementation of the new political mechanism, public were enthused from the political commitment for national development and prosperity. However, despite the lapse of 8 years since the promulgation of the Constitution, challenges have surfaced in ensuring its effective implementation. Such a situation has left the Constitution experts and those involved in the development of the Constitution itself concerned. The Constitution promulgated from the Constituent Assembly in 2015 has ensured republicanism, secularism, federalism, and proportionate inclusive representation, among other aspects. 2 elections of all 3 tiers of the government have been held as provisioned by the Constitution. However, challenges have surfaced in addressing issues related to the sound administrative mechanism, good governance, and other public concerns envisioned by the Constitution. Government officials are in a state of dilemma because of the failure of the federal government in formulation of laws provisioned by the Constitution. Problems persist in the education sector, while management of police department is yet to gain momentum. Such lapses have raised questions on good governance assured by the Constitution. More than 70 laws have yet to be formulated. There has been no progress regarding 40 laws that should have been developed by the federal government. Despite formulation of laws for implementation of the fundamental rights, there are issues regarding their implementation. Instead of fulfilling the responsibility assigned by the Constitution, political parties have been engaged to serve their political and power interests. Laws have yet to be formulated regarding the shared rights of the 3 tiers of the government, even in 8 years of the promulgation of the Constitution. Provinces are seeking legal treatment against the federal government regarding the share of resources. At a time when collaboration between the federal and provincial governments had to be prioritized, the Inter-Province Council has remained inactive. Those involved in the development of the Constitution themselves have begun questioning if the inclusive proportionate mechanism described by the Constitution has addressed the target groups. There were some disagreements among the political parties during the promulgation of the Constitution as well. And despite 2 amendments, those political disagreements continue to exist. It was the responsibility of the parties to contribute for implementation of the Constitution following its promulgation. However, Constitution experts have said that the political parties prioritizing their interests before ensuring the full implementation of the National Charter could raise questions on the sentiments of the Constitution, which is a political document of consensus. The Constitution can be amended on the basis of requirement as well. But the parties have yet to pay attention on this aspect. While the Constitution of Nepal has ensured the rights of the public, they have yet to realize their own fundamental rights because of the failure in ensuring its effective implementation. Now, after addressing the United Nations General Assembly, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal is leaving for China on the 22nd of September. Prime Minister Dahal has prioritized implementation of previous agreements and understandings as his major agenda for the China visit. Premier Dahal has said that expansion of aid in transformative projects for roads, energy and connectivity are also to be stressed upon. Almost 2,000 projects are in operation with the Chinese aid in Nepal. Following the agreement related to financial aid between the two countries of October 1956, China has been providing aid for Nepal's construction of infrastructures, industrialization, development of human resources, health, education and water resources among other sectors. The Chinese aid, which was limited to road and industries until 34 years ago, has now expanded to railway projects, tunnelways and electricity transmission lines as well. Almost 24 projects with Chinese aid are currently in operation that include Nepal-China cross-border railway, Tokhachare and Moilung-Safru-Besi tunnelway, second phase of Kathmandu Ring Road Improvement Project, upgrading of civil hospital and expansion of Bir Hospital in Duakot of Bhaktapur, among others. The trolley bus service, which had begun 48 years ago with the Chinese aid, has already been closed, while Basbari Leather Shoe Factory, Harishaddi Tile, Vrikuti Paper Factory, among half a dozen industries have remained shut. China has shared grievances regarding the delay in project works caused by encroachment at the project areas, complications related to felling of trees and relocation of electric infrastructures. According to the Ministry of Finance, China has invested $45 billion in Nepal by April 2023. While China used to provide aid to Nepal in the initial phase, it began providing both subsidized loans and aids from the 1980s. Since the Belt and Road Initiative's BRI agreement of 2017, China has been prioritizing loans in most projects. Of the $37 million invested last year, most of it is loans. Meanwhile, experts have said that aid should be prioritized by Nepal in such projects, while development work should be given continuity even by using soft loans when required. Despite the increase in frequency of high-level visits and agreements between the two nations in the past 8 years, implementation aspect has remained feeble. China is yet to provide the $3.7 million committed to Nepal during Chinese President Xi Jinping's Nepal visit. Projects including the construction of railway are also yet to gain momentum. Therefore, it is imperative for Prime Minister Dahal to stress on implementation of past agreements rather than prioritizing new projects during his upcoming China visit. Acting Prime Minister and Minister for Defence Purna Bahadur Khadka has urged the teachers protesting against the education bill to participate in talks. He added that the government was committed to find solutions through dialogue. Addressing a program organized by the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology on the occasion of the National Education Day, Acting Prime Minister Khadka called on the protesting teachers and their umbrella organization to participate in dialogue. The government had invited the Teachers Federation for a talk today. However, the representatives of the NET ignored the call. In our Public Voice segment today, we have asked in several provinces what should be done to improve the quality of education at schools. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
विद्यालयमा विद्यार्थीले पढ्ने र शिक्षकले पढाउने वातावरणको निर्माण हुनुपर्छ।
शिक्षक विद्यार्थी र अभिभावक बीचको त्रिकोणात्मक सम्बन्ध मजबुत हुनुपर्छ।
विद्यालय व्यवस्थापन समितिमा राजनीति बढी भएको छ, यसलाई चाहिँ रोक्न पर्छ।
शिक्षकले राजनीतिक संस्कार चाहिँ सिकाउनु पर्छ विद्यार्थीलाई, तर शिक्षक आफू स्वयं चाहिँ राजनीतिमा इन्भल्भ हुनु हुँदैन।
अहिलेको युवाहरू चाहिँ पढाइमा कम, तर राजनीतिकमा यो जसरी जातीय भेदभावमा बढी लागेको छ त्यो पहिला सुधार्नु पर्यो।
राजनीति गर्छन् शिक्षकहरूले, त्यसलाई हटाउनु पर्यो। व्यावसायिक शिक्षा सञ्चालन गर्नु पर्यो।
नेताहरू छ उहाँहरूले पनि ध्यान दिइदिनु पर्ने हो।
व्यवहारिक शिक्षा हुनु पर्यो, खाली किताबी ज्ञान मात्रै दिएर पनि पूर्ण हुँदैन।
विद्यालयको चाहिँ सुधारको निम्ति काम गरिरहेको, त्यहाँको गुणस्तर चाहिँ बढाउनलाई काम गरिरहेको शिक्षकहरूलाई जबसम्म चाहिँ प्रोत्साहन गरिदैन तबसम्म चाहिँ विद्यालय शिक्षाले चाहिँ क्वालिटी ग्रहण गर्न सक्दैन।
शिक्षकहरूलाई ट्रेनिङको व्यवस्था गर्नु पर्यो, भौतिक पूर्वाधार निर्माण गर्नु पर्यो। थ्योरी सँगै त्यो के रे प्र्याक्टिकल बारे पनि मार्केटमा गएर बुझाइदिनु पर्छ स्टुडेन्टहरूलाई।
विद्यालयमा राजनीति बढी भएको छ।
हेडमास्टरले चाहिँ आफ्नो टिचरले के गर्दैछ त्यसको चाहिँ स्कुलबाट छुट्टी हुने बेलामा चाहिँ त्यसको चाहिँ रिपोर्ट जस्तो चाहिँ लिनुपर्छ।
सोर्स भन्दा पढेर राम्रो ज्ञान भएको शिक्षक चाहियो।
Traders have increased the price of sugar during festivals. Now, at a time when the Department of Commerce, the entity which is responsible for market monitoring, is without leadership, the traders have increased the price of sugar by 20 rupees per kilogram within a week. Sugar used to cost 110 rupees per kilogram a week back, but now it costs 130 rupees per kilo. Traders have begun charging up to 140 rupees per kilogram for sugar. In this situation, the government had transferred the Director General of the Department of Commerce, Supplies and Protection of Consumer Rights and the Chief of the Department of Supplies. The government has assigned a Director General today. Consumer rights activists have alleged of bad practices in absence of market monitoring. Around 140,000 to 180,000 tons of sugar is produced in Nepal each year. With the total demand figuring at 280,000 tons, around 100,000 tons of sugar is imported. It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Before we ask today's question, let us take a look at the results from yesterday's polls. Yesterday we had asked, what should be done to curb the random use of antibiotics? 41% were for A, accountability of doctors, 30% were for B, effective monitoring, and 29% were for C, public awareness. Here is our today's question. Why is the price of sugar increased drastically during festivities? Your options are A, arbitrary price setting by traders, B, feeble monitoring, and C, low production. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us.
Sports news.
Nepal men's national volleyball team have suffered a 4-set defeat against Bahrain in the group stage of the Asian Games. Despite winning the first set, Nepal failed to secure the win against Bahrain in their Pool B match. Having lost the first set 20-25, Bahrain made a strong comeback to win the next 3 sets 25-20, 25-18, 25-15. With the defeat, Nepal have made a poor start in the Asian Games. The Nepali Spikers are slated to play Iran tomorrow. Prior to this, Nepal had played Iran at the Kava Central Zone Nations League, where they had suffered a defeat. Top 2 teams of the group stage progressed to the next round of the tournament. While the Asian Games is yet to be formally inaugurated, matches of football, beach volleyball and cricket have begun today. In addition to the team of volleyball, Nepali sides for karate and football have already left for China. Winners of the National Basketball League are to receive 500,000 rupees in cash prize, while the runners-up will walk away with 250,000 rupees. Organizers Nepal Basketball Association and Dizzy Fly announced the cash rewards today. The league will be held from September 29 to October 14 at the covered hall of the National Sports Council in Tripureshwar. That is all for the moment. Up next is the news in Nepali. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.